Are you watching Buster Douglas? And a sweet Irish brogue saying, you know, the real money is in the rematch. All right, my colleague, Doug Gazarian, worked in Vegas, knows Vegas, is reporting his online at ESPN.com, the concern among the pro. How big are the sport? And we're not asking for your sympathy or understanding, but the intellectual understanding of how numbers like this get them worried.
Well, what happens is any event, like a football game, college, NFL, whatever it is, it's pretty kind of easy to come out with a point spread. But this is an event that they weren't even sure was going to be sanctioned, right? When it first came out in February, it was before it had been confirmed, right? So it just came out of nowhere, and then they had no idea to handicap sort of the interest in it. So all these bets have come in on one guy, Conor McGregor, for the most part, in a ratio of 20-1, 17-1, 15-1, depending on the sports book. So these odds makers basically anticipate certain action, but they didn't anticipate this one-sided action, and that's what's throwing them off. So they're all at risk here, and they have a liability with a couple days to go.
How much risk? Take an average sports book. How much money are we talking about? Could they? How large a bath could each?
One sportsbook director told me it's $3 million, and MGM didn't give me a number, but they said this could be the biggest loss in the MGM Resort's history. Now, a lot can happen between the next 2 days, and there could be a panic. But all I know is these odds makers had to talk to their bosses upstairs and even their parent companies, and they've had this open dialogue the last week or so because of the risk and the exposure, and then obviously a lot more money comes in when the tourists arrive in Las Vegas, and then they can move the numbers even lower to attract more Mayweather money just to balance and minimize their risk.
Good. If you got a casino, though, the percentage of the handle at sports booking is very small, though, is it not?
True, that's a great point, but every place is different. So MGM Resorts, obviously it's a small percentage is the sports book, but if you have other places that are just like William Hill, just does sports betting, they're going to have much higher percentage of what their business plan is.
Let's talk about not necessarily what Rory McIlroy was talking about, but the fact that Floyd Mayweather, and he flaunts this all over in social media. I mean, he has been seen on private planes with all sorts of money. He's a big sports gambler. Doesn't bet baseball, but bets NBA, college basketball, college football. Can bet on himself, and there's no prohibition, right, against this?
Well, it's boxing in general is unregulated, right? There's like the UFC has a organization.
But not just boxing, though. The Nevada Gaming Commission, right?
Right, they allow it. But now, if he was betting against himself, I think they'd raise some red flags there. But betting on him, they see it as a realtor buying a house.
All right, I'm going grassy knoll here, but it wouldn't have to be Floyd walking up himself to the. I mean, hey, could you take this money up for me? And in fact, he may in fact have bet on other MMA events that way, right?
Right. I mean, who knows, right? You're right. They call them beards in Las Vegas. You have someone go place the bet for someone. And certain players, like a baccarat player, is allowed a higher limit than maybe a professional. So they have those guys do it. But, yeah, it's open season out there, right? But, I mean, sportsbooks, it's very regulated, whether it be the NFL games, NBA games, whatever. But something like this, yeah, sure. But, I mean, I heard what Rory said. I think that undefeated, that unblemished record, I think the sport of boxing is on the line here. I think that means more to Floyd if I'm speculating.
Oh, which leads directly to our next segment, which we're getting to in about 45 seconds. Paddy Power, the Irish. And they're always looking for a gimmick. They're already paying off on Floyd bets now. Did you know that?
Did they pay off on some of the election stuff, too, ahead of time?
Perhaps.
That didn't work out so well.
If you had $100, where would you put it?
Mayweather.
Yeah. Which means you're going to win about $17.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
There's two people in Vegas. One who go there, and it's like Disneyland, right? You can't go to Disneyland and not ride the roller coaster. So if you're in Vegas, you have to bet on it. That's just the thing to do. And who wants to risk 50 to win 10? Now, the bigger bets, the people who are very calculated with odds, the value, that's the optimum term, is on Mayweather. It's like he should be about 20-1 favorite.
McGregor's like a Powerball. You take a shot. Somebody holds that number.
You take a shot.
Right. We'll watch Saturday. You'll watch. I ain't watching this. All right, Doug.
Fair enough.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.